Friends, I greet you once more, and I want to ask God to help us to understand the meaning of His love for us. The summary of every law, both human and divine, every societal law, every divine law, is to love God as the creator of all things and love our brothers and sisters. This is summarized by Jesus in the Gospel of today. The Pharisees and the Sadducees were trying to test him by asking him which one is greatest of all the commandments, because they wanted to know whether it was love of father or mother, or love of brothers and sisters, or love of self and all that. But Jesus summarized everything by saying it is the love of God and of neighbor. This is the summary. So, if we love God, whom we do not see, and we hate our brothers, whom we see, that love cannot be complete. Because God is manifested in our brothers and our sisters. God is living in every one of us. We are imago Dei, the images of God. God created us His own likeness and image, and we reflect Him. So we cannot hate somebody who is a reflection of God. Something happened to me when we were in the seminary. There was this young man. He was everything that we could say, describe as bad. He was very noisy and naughty, and he was very ugly, and he was always disturbing people. I don't know why I didn't like him. You know, it was really very, because if he sees that you don't like him, he will disturb you more. So it was just like a gadfly to me and to many people. So, but it was our spiritual director who converted me. One day, he was teaching us spiritual direction in the chapel, and he said, all of us are images of God. And if you hate anybody because he's ugly, then you are hating the creator, not the created. Because God created him, and He knew why He created him. He knew why He made him to be how he is. Therefore, if you see anybody, look at him straight in the eyes and see God who created him. And if you love this God who created him, then you will definitely love this man or this woman. The thing made a very big impression on me. And from that moment, I was transformed. I was converted. And this man eventually became my best friend. I began to see goodness in all this, everything he did. You know, sometimes it is our own mental construct that make us to think that people are bad or this. If those jokes you used to make, I now saw meaning in them. And I saw love in them. And then we become, I changed the way I related with him. Up until today, each time I remember him, he's my friend. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is what God is teaching us today. To see the image of God in the other person. Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4 says, Shema Israel, hear O Israel, the Lord your God is only one Lord. I must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength. These things are repeated in the gospel of today. And they mean a lot. You shall love the Lord your God with all your hearts. The human heart is the symbol of love. That's why if you want to draw love, is to draw the heart. That means this is the center of loving God. Then with all your soul, that means all your being, every part of you. The soul is not located in any part of the body. Soul is located in the hand, is in the eyes, is in the ears, and everywhere. The soul is the man, the human being. That is the soul. So if God says love your brother or your friend with all your soul, that means everything you have should be devoted to this person whom you love. And then with all your mind, reasoning, thinking, you think of somebody, because every thought, everything we do comes from thinking the way we think. Man is what he thinks. There was this man who went to the hospital, and he thought he had malaria. Doctor looked at him, took his a sample of his blood, and went to the lab. After some time, he called him to his private office and said, "I'm sorry, you have HIV." And then, within one day, this man machiated everything in him. At a point, he had to be admitted in the hospital, and he was dying. At a point, he couldn't even raise his hands or his legs. He couldn't get out of the bed. And after a few days, they now realized that they made a mistake. It was not his blood that they used, that they tested. It was another person. Wanting to let another that made them to discover this. And then, this man was dying on his sick bed. And then the doctor came and said, "Mr. Isaiah, I am very sorry. This hospital is really very sorry." And the man was hearing him. "We want to tell you, ask you please to forgive us. You don't have HIV. That blood was the blood of another person. We are sorry." Do you know what happened? This man who could not raise his hand, he jumped out from the bed and started dancing. Man is spotting things. If you think you are dying, you are dying. If you think you are alive, you are alive. So that's what God said. Love your brother with your mind. So think good of your brother. Think good of your sister. Think good of another person, no matter how he is. You know, the story of Ruth and Naomi in the first reading is a story about love, family love. How we can love the elderly. You know, these things are vanishing in our society today. I thank God that in Africa, that this is still, you know, the family is still more intact than in other places, because in many families you still find 4 generations, great-grandparents, grandparents, the parents and the children. You know, there was a man I visited, his mother-in-law and his own mother were living together in the same house. And his wife was there and his children. And the children also have already married out. You know, so the great joy I find is when I came in, I saw the old women holding their hands together and telling stories of their early days, and all that touched me. Because it means that these people they have great love for one another in their extended family, and the family showed great love for them. Yes, society is growing, and society is becoming so busy that nobody has time for the elderly. So Naomi was a woman who had troubles in her life. She lost her husband and her 2 sons, and then she lost these 2 sons as well. And then these 2 sons were married to young girls, but none of them had children. And then Ruth was the best among these Moabite women. Oprah was also a good woman, but when the business was over, when her husband died, she didn't find meaning in staying back to take care of her mother-in-law. And then she decided to say goodbye. And this old woman didn't see any problem about it, because she was doing the natural thing. She was looking for herself. She was thinking about herself, her future. She wants to go back and maybe remarry. But Ruth was a faithful woman. She said, "No, I cannot leave you. I will be with you. Where you live, I will live. Where you die, I will die. Where you are buried, I will be buried." She stayed back for the love of the mother-in-law. Sometimes, so when young women are being married into a family, they will pray that their mother-in-law dies before they come, because sometimes they see them as obstacles. This should not be the case, because these are people who gave birth to your husband. This love should be there for them. One day you pray to God that you get old and get your children will also marry. How would you think if somebody is dreaming or thinking like that you die before she comes to marry your own son? So sometimes we don't think about the other. That's why we make mistakes. So Ruth was a good woman. Said, "I will stay back with you. and she stayed back and remarried just because of the love she had for the mother-in-law. When we say mother-in-law, it means her own mother also. This person is my mother, but my mother-in-law. I met a very wonderful woman in Austria. She had 2 girls. She was a very faithful woman coming to mass every day. So one day I didn't see her in the church. So the following day I asked her, "Oh, Marianne, why didn't you go to church?" She said, "The boyfriend of my daughter came around and went to church another place and went out to take ice cream. So that was why I didn't come." She said, "How many daughters, how many children do you have?" I said, "I have 2 daughters." I said, "Oh, I pray for you that you get a son." So God forbid. I already have two daughters and they have boyfriends. Very soon they will marry. And I have 2 sons and 2 daughters. It made a great impression on me. I have 2 sons and 2 daughters. Because these are my sons-in-law. And these are my daughters. So I have 2 daughters here, and then very soon I have 2 sons. So, but here in our home, from where I come from, sometimes if you don't have daughters, you are crying. If you don't have sons, you are crying. If you are lucky to have one person, it's a great gift from God. Love him or love her. By the grace of God, the person may have a partner, I have a son, I have a daughter. This is how to think about it. This is the love of God. So let us think about our family. Think about our friends. Think about where we come from and the people who live around us. They may not be the best of persons, but if we want to love God, let us look at the eyes of these people and see God in it. In the name of the Father, and of the Son,